Step 5, the volunteer core. This step involves you becoming more involved with your society, in service to humanity, in beneficial ways. No download is required for this step. It is all about you taking the step, initiating the step of volunteering in certain ways on your planet and doing the things that are representative of service, of help, of bringing about a more positive world, of doing the things physically, acting on the things that connect you to others in ways that can be of assistance, that can be of help, that can be representative of the positive actions you can take, that would be more representative of the actions you would take in the kind of world that you say you prefer to live in. But there are many reasons for taking these actions, not only to be of service to others, but also to allow you to change your own states of being, should you be experiencing states of being that you don't prefer. For example, if you are experiencing the idea where you don't really understand what your passion may be, even though we have explained that you can start simply with everyday things, just acting on the things that have even just a little bit more excitement than anything else, and doing those things first, and letting it build up and snowball into bigger and bigger opportunities, we are still talking about the idea that some of you may not necessarily know how to get yourself out of a state of boredom, a state of sameness, a state of depression, a state of not allowing yourself to exercise your creative imaginations to move you forward. So one of the best ways that you can allow yourself to change that state is to volunteer, to be of assistance and to be of help to other people in various situations, to get out of yourself, so to speak, to change your environment, to change your actions, to do something different, to think, as you say, outside your box, to do something you are not familiar with, and to see if you can actually find passion in those things that you are now exploring in your service to humanity. There are many things that you can volunteer to do. And when we say volunteer, it doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot be paid to do them, for there are many things you could volunteer for that will actually pay you, at least to some degree, will support you in your willingness to participate in those things. Some of them you will do for free, but even then you will get a lot out of it if you are willing to break through your usual assumptions, your usual state of being, and just choose something that you may start out being mildly curious about, or may have at some point thought of what other people feel about doing those things and said, I wonder what it's like to do that. Give yourself a chance to take the action, to take the step, to move forward and go ahead and volunteer to be of service in that way, if you have ever considered what it might be like to be of assistance in a variety of ways on your planet, such as going to the people that plant new trees and helping them do so, going to the people that feed the homeless in homeless shelters and volunteering to help there, going to read stories to people who are bedridden in hospice situations, going to animal rescue services and participating there to help the idea of the animals on your planet. There are many things you can volunteer for that will get you out of your present situation and open you up to what is possible in your service to humanity and allow you to potentially find new things you may actually discover that you can be passionate about. Getting out of your habits, getting out of your usual situation, opening your world up, making connections you otherwise wouldn't have made. This is very important for the idea of open contact, is to allow yourselves to start making contact with different realities that can be of service to humanity, opening your world up so that you can open up to other worlds as well, being more flexible in your ability to participate and interact with other people socially on your planet. After all, this is an interstellar alliance social experiment. And this is one of the social aspects of it, is to engage more fully with the positive aspects of your society that are already doing things that would be more representative of the kind of things you would do on the kind of earth you say you would prefer to live on. So help out, be of service, volunteer, find something that you are at least curious about and wonder what it would be like to do that. Do it at least once. You can do it at least once. Or you can decide to do it every day. You can decide to do it once a week, once a month, once a year, or more than that, or every other day, or every other week, or every other month, or every other year. The timing is up to you. What's most important is that you choose to participate, that you choose to help out, that you choose to magnify and amplify the positive work that others may be doing and add your energy to it, not only to help in your service to humanity, but also to pull you out of your regular routines, to open up the world to you in a variety of ways that may allow you to discover new passions that you didn't know you could have. So this is part and parcel of the Interstellar Alliance Social Experiment Volunteer Corps. Get out in the world, take the actions necessary to change your situation, to open up your reality, and to participate, interact, and interconnect with others doing positive works on your planet in help to others. We thank you for allowing us to share this idea, this step with you this day of your time. And we ask now, in return, how may we be of service?
Hello, Tadeo.
Nania.
We have so many wonderful questions from our viewers.
All right.
Okay, the first one is, can you talk about how the idea of service relates to ideas like sacrifice, giving things away, or doing things we might not want to do in some ways? Is that part of it sometimes, of compromising, of giving something up in some way? Or should authentic service always feel easy and natural?
Always easy and natural. We are not talking about sacrifice in that sense. Sacrifice would be to let go of a part of the self that you might actually need to be able to perform the services for others. So it's not about sacrifice. It's not about giving up a part of yourself that is important for you to retain, to be yourself, your authentic self. When you are being of service as your authentic self, when you are helping as your authentic self, it will always be smooth and easy and giving in a loving way. It is not about the idea of feeling deprived. If you feel deprived, then you are not necessarily going about it in a way that is actually service.
Okay, thank you. Is service something that we need or should surrender and give ourselves away to and do for free? Or is it all right to be paid and supported for our services? What's the role or distinction between volunteering versus the forms of service where we are working and getting paid?
It is absolutely fine to be paid for the services that you provide. When we talk about the idea of volunteering, it is mostly for the purpose of getting you to step outside your normal routine, getting you to start investigating and exploring what other connections you may not ordinarily think of making with people, with situations, to be able to expand your view and your perspective of what other people are going through in situations that might be unusual for you were you to simply continue in your normal routine. So the idea of the volunteering that we are talking about is to sort of get you outside yourself, outside your normal routines, to explore something new and different, where you can be of great help, be of great service to others in a new and unusual way, especially for people on your planet who experience things like depression. It is one of the strongest ways that you can get out of your depression is by suddenly going into a voluntary situation where you now have to help other people who may be going through similar things, or even things that are more difficult or more strenuous than what you have been going through, so that you can gain some perspective and understand your relationship to the idea of the situations that those people may be experiencing. This is primarily the reason why we suggest the idea of the Interstellar Alliance Volunteer Corps. It doesn't mean that you cannot do things and be of service to people where you get compensated for it. Of course, that is the way that things work on your planet, as long as you are also willing to expand your understanding, as we have talked about in the past, of all the different ways that abundance can be defined, so that it's not just about the idea of money being paid in the typical sense, but the idea of being willing to open up and receive in any way, shape, or form that allows you to continue to follow your passion. So there's nothing wrong with that. And again, the volunteering that we're talking about is mostly to get people to change their routine, to get themselves out of themselves, to step outside their normal ideas, normal perspectives, to shake things up a little bit and give them an opportunity to walk in other people's shoes.
Okay. And this person is saying that sometimes when I try to follow my excitement and be of service or share something that I'm excited to share, I find that I can get stuck in perfectionism and self-doubt. For example, if I share something about astrology with someone, I worry about if I tell them something that isn't fully clear, or it's wrong in some way, or confuses them, or it's not the right permission slip for them. I then hesitate to share anything at all, or even just sharing about a TV show, a book, or something that I like with someone. Part of me worries that it might not be good or might not be right for them, or it just distracts them from their path and it's not the best thing I could share with them. So can you address can you talk about how it might be possible to relax around some of this?
Yes, well, you're taking responsibility for their responses rather than simply being responsible to them by being yourself. Of course, the sharing must always be where you sense it is appropriate to share these things. But remember that if they've been attracted into your life, then there is a reason that they're there. And this is where the idea also is that you can add caveats to anything that you share. You can always begin by saying, this is my perspective. This is my belief. This is what I've learned. It may or may not work for you, but I'm going to share this and you can decide whether or not it's appropriate for you. So as long as you lead anything you're sharing with that caveat, then you can relax because you have already prepared them to understand that while you're sharing an idea with them about anything, it's still that you're leaving it up to them to decide whether or not to apply it in their lives. But you can certainly take it on faith, so to speak, that the reason that they're in your life at all is because they're willing to hear what you have to say, willing to receive some of what it is you're willing to share, as long as you do it in an appropriate way. And again, give them the caveat that this is your perspective. You're just sharing it. In the event it may be of assistance to them, but you don't expect or insist on anything, and you can allow them to take it in whatever way, shape, or form they will, or to leave it behind. So as long as you make that clear, then you're free to share anything because they now know that you're not attempting to force it on them or insist that they must believe it. You're simply saying, hey, this is my life. This is what I've experienced. This is what I see. This is my perspective, and therefore they are free to take it or leave it. So lighten up on yourself. Don't be so responsible for everyone's response. Just be responsible to them by being yourself.
Great. And then I think this is from the same person. In an earlier transmission, you discussed the idea of learning from and using past mistakes in order to move forward positively and be of service to humanity. But does our service always have to relate to the mistakes that we've made or experienced in the past? Or can we just bring what we've learned and who we've become forward in a more general way into how we are in the world and let that then connect us to the ways of being of service?
Yes, either is fine. Whatever seems appropriate. Sometimes the lessons that you have learned in a specific way may be relevant for helping others who also are going through those specific experiences, and therefore, at those times, it's appropriate to take the lessons from a specific experience and share it in a specific way, in the same way that you went through it. Otherwise, no, you don't have to. Whatever lessons you have learned can simply be used to share with people in ways that are of service to them without necessarily it being specific to the way that you learned the lessons. So, no, it doesn't have to be the same, but allow synchronicity to bring to you the people in whatever way, shape, or form they need to experience it. They will let you know in what way they need to experience the information you have gained and the wisdom you have gained and the experience you have gained from learning the lessons you have learned. You'll be able to tell whether or not you need to couch it, shall we say, in the same way that you went through it in that particular discipline or subject, or whether you can simply take whatever you have learned and apply it in a different way according to what they bring with regard to their questions or their situation. So yes and no, it depends on the situation.
Okay. And does being of service always look like directly connecting to and helping others, teaching about something, or taking actions in the physical world in some way? Or are there also valid forms and ways of being of service energetically on our own, or even just through our own healing process, way of being in the world, etc.?
All of it. Don't leave anything out. Do the energy, heal yourself, and take the actions that are of service to others as well. It's not just one or the other. All of them are important. It's a holistic experience. So yes, you're helping by changing your own energy. Yes, you're helping others by healing yourself, because you can't really help others unless you're helping yourself be a whole person. But the idea is, don't shy away from taking the actions as an alternative. In other words, don't make action an alternative to simply dealing with your own energy. All of them are important.
And as far as the idea of ways of being of service to humanity, many people get a lot of joy out of being kind and thoughtful and caring of their pets and helping them heal, and sometimes feel guilty that somehow that's not as good as being of service to humanity. Isn't it correct that both actions raise your vibration and it's not necessary to have it be only about being of service to humans?
Again, this is about understanding the whole package. Animals are connected to the angelic realm. They are more evolved than many humans. So they're here to reflect to you what it is you may need to learn to be your authentic self, so that you can perhaps not only help them in the situations in which they're reflecting things to you that you need to heal within yourself, but then that gives you the opportunity to also be of service to humanity, which is why the animals are here to begin with, to be of service to you. So you can use what they're reflecting to you to heal yourself and thus be more of service to humanity and everything on the planet. Again, you have to look at it holistically as an expression of the entire package. Don't leave anything out. One is not a substitute for the other. They all need to be performed. kindness to animals, service to humans, service to trees, service to the entire planet. All of it is important. It's a whole package.
So whatever you're most attracted to would be your guide.
It would be your guide, but that doesn't eliminate the idea of learning to be attracted to other things, because many times you're not attracted to other things because of fear-based beliefs and limitations that you have imposed upon your ability to tell what your passion actually is. And this, again, is one of the reasons why we suggest the Interstellar Alliance Volunteer Corps, because it can get you to step outside yourself and find out where you might be limiting yourself from understanding what your passions could be if you're simply willing to get out in the world a little bit more, step outside yourself a little bit farther, and start interacting with people in circumstances and situations that perhaps your limitations haven't allowed you to ponder, that might actually be of great service to you to do. So again, the volunteering is all about getting outside your normal expectations and assumptions and exploring whether or not there might be other connections that would be representative of your passion if you would only give yourself an opportunity to step beyond the limitations and assumptions that many people may be making about what they can and cannot do.
And on a biochemical level, this idea of raising your vibration by being of service can you explain a little more about that connection?
Many people find themselves surprised that when they start being of service to others, even in, and especially maybe in, voluntary situations, feeding the homeless, building them houses, helping with hospice work, things like that, it connects them to situations that allow them to feel that they are worthy, that they are here to help, that they have the ability to expand themselves. And that increases not only the energetic vibrations, but the biochemical makeup of their bodies in healthier and healthier ways. Helping others helps you, literally, chemically, energetically, in many different ways. It starts making you feel good about yourself, worthy within yourself, that you have the ability to express this service, this help, this kindness to others. It starts feeding back into your own body in many different ways and allows you to become a healthier individual, one that is more awake, alive, and alert, so that you can again be of more help and get the rewards that come to you for doing so.
Okay, that's wonderful. It's nice that we're organically created that way.
Yes, because everything is one thing. Therefore, the idea of any form of connection that allows you to increase your sense of that connection is something that will improve your health and your stability and your energy on many different levels. It's what you were built to do, because everything is one thing. So helping others is your physical expression of allowing you to recognize the connections between everything, because everything is one thing.